It's finally here. Solo Leveling is a webcomic that has been requested for, 7 months now. Ever since my hardcore leveling warrior days. Now, for all you webtoon purists, I'm sure that you're a little confused, because Solo Leveling isn't actually on webtoons. While this channel is mainly a webtoon channel, Solo Leveling will be the exception. However, that is why I didn't mention Solo Leveling characters in my which webtoon character can beat John, because it's not on webtoons. Solo Leveling takes place in a world much like ours, but strange portals called gates start opening around the world. These gates act much like dungeons in a video game, where there are a number of enemies and sometimes even ores to collect, and a giant boss at the ends. Now, for an ordinary person, these gates would be impossible. However, the gate's magical energy also empowers some humans. These magic humans are known as hunters. Hunters have a range of abilities, from just superhuman strength and speed, to magical powers like fire and healing. Hunters have a range of strength, and like Smash Brothers, they're divided into tiers, from S to E. Solo Leveling follows Sung Jin Woo, not only the lowest rank, E, but also known as the world's weakest hunter. However, after a freak accident in a gate with a special and rare type of dungeon known as a double lair, where most of his party dies and he almost practically dies, but gets saved by the system and is upgraded from a hunter to a player. I've wanted to do a video on Solo Leveling for some time now. However, it doesn't have a ton of important characters, so a character chart series would be difficult. I'd probably just end up talking about shadows for like 2 videos. However, Solo Leveling has its fair share of mysteries. Like, what is the player rank? Why is Sung Jin Woo the person who got that rank? What is the system? Who are these people? Is there a connection between hunters and the urge to fight? And I can't answer a lot of these questions, mainly because there's not a ton of information yet. However, I will try my best to answer the first 2. So let's talk player. Sung Jin Woo starts out with the hunter title. While he was the world's weakest hunter, it doesn't mean he wasn't a hunter. However, hunters themselves have limitations. The first and main part of a hunter is their stagnant nature. Hunters cannot grow stronger. When a hunter is awakened, they stay that way for the rest of their lives. There is nothing that they themselves can do to make themselves stronger. However, that's the first reason that Sung Jin Woo isn't a hunter anymore. Because this story is of him growing stronger, becoming even stronger than most S ranks. But there is a caveat to that stagnant nature. I said there is nothing that they can do themselves to make themselves stronger. However, we know of 2 ways that a hunter can become stronger. The main way is through a process known as a double awakening. And it's not the first time this theory has been put out there. We see it brought up by this agent. This is just our theory. But we believe you have received the double awakening. And they proceed to explain what a double awakening is. A hunter's stats are set when they first receive the awakening, or power. However, some hunters get awakened again after the first time. However, this theory is quickly thrown away by the agent, after seeing that Sung Jin Woo's magic level is still garbage. But let's hold on to that theory for a second. Is it possible that a double awakening could have granted him the ability to grow and develop? Double awakenings are a rare phenomenon, so it's not impossible for it to not occur. However, that theory doesn't hold a ton of water, for one main reason. It's likely that Sung Jin Woo isn't a hunter anymore. I've already mentioned his hunter title got replaced with the title of player. While that may seem inconsequential, it may seem more important than I first imagined. We first get this with the Red Gate incident. While he's trapped in a frozen wasteland, he encounters the Ice Elf boss. Now, you need to remember that all the enemies are monsters. They're not human. They're beasts, creatures, they're other words that mean not human. So no one can typically understand them or really care about them. However, Sung Jung-woo does understand him, and this is the first time we hear a monster talk. We see the ice elf become interested in Sung Jung-woo. There really was one, a useful guy among the trashes. I have a proposal. It won't be detrimental to you. But first, let me ask you a question. Despite not being human, why are you among the humans? Are you not aware of it? In our head, there's a constant voice speaking to us, to kill humans. But I cannot hear the voice in your presence. So according to this ice boss, Sung Jung-woo isn't even considered a human by this elf, and is considered to be better than most other humans. And this isn't a one-time thing either. The High Orc boss also notices Sung Jung-woo's strength. However, there seems to be something odd amongst you humans. And it's not just monsters that notice there's something different about him. Hunter Cha-ha-in, oh god, I'm sorry about that pronunciation, is a powerful S-rank hunter, but that's not why she's special. She has a unique ability, or I guess hindrance. Hunter Cha is able to smell a certain scent from hunters, and is apparently quite foul. To her, all hunters smell bad, which is strange, but whatever. The interesting part is when she meets Sung Jung-woo. After he passes her, she says, "Hey, hold on a second." And after she sniffs him, she realizes he doesn't smell. Are you really a hunter? E rank. Sung Jung-woo. Never mind, just be careful. The dungeon is huge after all. Was it because his rank was too low? He didn't stink. No, rather, he smelled nice. So with 3 accounts, he's more interesting than normal hunters. Also doesn't smell like a hunter, and also might not be human? Is it possible that he's a monster? While that's an interesting theory, it doesn't seem to be the case, or at least not entirely true. While the ability to talk to monsters and not smelling like a hunter is some points in that category, he can still talk to humans and still needs everything humans need. Alright, so those theories didn't really work out, but let's take a look at something. The symbolism of royalty. Well, of course, when I mean symbolism, I mean how often they throw it in your face. Our first instance of royalty is more discreet compared to the other ones. During the fight with Blood Red Commander Idris, Sung Jung-woo is getting wrecked and is smashed into a wall and falls onto a throne, where he proceeds to gimmick the hell out of this fight, and win. But him on that throne isn't the last time we see some vague connection to royalty. Our next notable moment is with the High Orc boss. During the fight, while Sung Jung-woo is winning, the High Orc boss has a moment of clarity. Can it be? Is he the monarch? Then why are we here? Yet again, monarch, a strange connection to royalty. And we don't get specifics until the Ant arc, which seems super not intimidating at all, but is actually a serious threat. This ant has easily killed many high-ranking hunters, eventually dueling Sung Jung-woo, even asking him if he's the king. After this ant is killed and reborn as Buru, one of Sung Jung-woo's shadows, he proceeds to call him things like master, my liege, my king. King. Buru isn't the only one that calls him king. I mentioned before that there are 2 ways that a hunter can increase their strength. The double awakening, and through miscellinar. A hunter who can increase the strength of other hunters by 3 stages. However, when she tries to increase Sung Jung-woo's strength, she breaks down screaming, eventually explaining to her agents, he is a king. A very powerful one. I've never experienced this before. He's a king, but he's different from the others. Different from the others. Powerful, and a connection to royalty? Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to point these out, but stick with me for a sec. He's a king, yeah, but kings have a lot of different titles. We've seen monarch, liege, master, but another name for a king is a lord. Now, where have we heard that before? Well, not in my video, but the boss of the double layer is known as Lord. That's my theory, that the Lord from the double layer is connected, intertwined, or even in Sung Jung-woo. So the connection to royalty is good, but there's more to that. Notice the arena that the double layer is in. The Lord is surrounded by his army, kind of like how Sung Jung-woo has his own army. And the connection to the Lord would explain a lot. His ability to talk to monsters and even being mistaken for something that isn't human, while still being human. While he's a king, he's different from the others. And take a look when Miss Selenar is trying to empower him. She says, "When I looked into him, he was also looking back at me." It wasn't Hunter Sung Jung-woo, but rather, it was endless darkness inside of him, looking back at me. Because that thing that was looking back at her was the Lord. But why Sung Jung-woo? Well, if I can be honest, I really think it could have been anyone who survived the double layer. And notice the 3 Karthanon temples commandments. First, worship the Lord. Second, praise the Lord. Third, prove your faith. These are rules of the double layer. These are rules to help people stay alive, but I think it's more like a test. First, worship the Lord. Bow to the statue. This was to test humility. Are you humble enough to concede that there are creatures stronger than you? Are you humble enough to bow to those creatures? Those who don't, or try to leave, are killed. Second, praise the Lord. Testing intelligence and the ability to think on the spot and quickly. What does it mean to praise? How can we praise? Where do we go? All while a giant statue is chasing you and trying to step on you and kill you. Third, prove your faith. Testing courage, the ability to face down something challenging and seemingly impossible, like a bunch of statues marching straight onto you. These are 3 things that Sung Jung-woo exemplifies: humility, intelligence, courage. I believe that the Lord of the double layer was testing these humans, seeing which one was worthy of his crown, worthy of becoming the next lord. It would explain why he's considered royalty, a king, a lord, why he's considered a monster by monsters but still technically human. It would also explain where the Lord and his army goes. They certainly just didn't disappear. Maybe they intertwined with Sung Jung-woo somehow. Of course, that could not be it. It could have been just a chance to tell a story of the weakest becoming the strongest. But I think it's an interesting take on the story of solo leveling. And if you have a different theory on what the player status means, or where the Lord went, or anything like that, then leave it in the comments below. I'd love to see your ideas. But like always, thank you for watching.